How you doing again? Well, it's the 4th of December here, and you look out the window, and what a shock. Look what I see. That's right, it's our first snow of the winter, and luckily it's on a Saturday, so maybe, even though people live here, for years and years, maybe they remember how to drive in this. But there are some hardy people, well, maybe I'm not the hardiest person, but who like to ride to work. And now I live pretty close to my job, and I even want to ride through this. So what do? Well, I set up a bicycle for winter riding, and this is my winter bike, I guess you could call it. It's a Bridgestone MB-3, which was a lower end bike from Bridgestone. It's from, I think, the early mid 1980s. I used to know the exact year. I picked this up at a Goodwill. I think it was a Goodwill or maybe another thrift store, but I think I originally cost about, like my other used bikes, around $20 to $40. But I totally rebuilt it and I modified it for winter, and I can show you what I did here. Probably the most important thing you want to do if you want to try riding in winter, you want to get some good tires. You could use the original knobby tires, or you could buy studded tires. As you can see, the studs there, those are tungsten steel studs. There are different brands of this. I'm not going to mention brand names, but they'll probably run you around $40 or $50 a piece. Some other modifications I did to this bike that make winter riding, I wouldn't say practical, but viable. You want to get some good large metal, I would say metal, not plastic, because I've had plastic pedals where the little rubber tops like this will peel back, and you don't want that. But you want a large platform pedal like this, because you'll probably be riding in some nice warm, hopefully warm, weatherproof boots like this. So you want a nice good platform there for a feeling of security. Other modifications I did to this bike, the frame was a little on the small side for me, so I had to get a taller seat post. I got this seat, which is a nice, pretty good, it's a vinyl seat, so it's going to wear well if you're wearing, like I usually do, I'll wear in the winter blue jeans. I work at a production job, so it's not like I'm riding in a business suit or something. So I usually wear like some sport type long underwear under the jeans, and this is a nice seat. You don't have to worry about getting wet or damaged like say a leather seat or something. So I had to raise the handlebars too. These are not the stock handlebars, but it is the stock stem, and I got it as high as it could go. So I had to bring it higher, so I bought these handlebars in my case to bring everything a little bit higher. These are different handbrakes. Got this little cup holder thing if you want a warm beverage or whatever, to keep you warm on your ride. It keeps things relatively warm for a while, at least your coffee or whatever. Fenders, I got some nice wide fenders here, and then notice how far down this flap goes, because you don't want to kick up too much snow or spray or whatever on your drivetrain. Even though I have an exposed drivetrain here, I don't want it to get any salt spray or whatever if there's still salt on the roads. I got a trunk here, rack trunk. It's the removable type. You probably, I won't mention the brand, but you probably know, if you know bikes, what brand that is. Some other little modifications with this fender. My LED light here, but I had to add a reflector here. I didn't have to, but in safety's concern I did. Another interesting modification, or actually I had to repair this. This is not the stock derailleur for this bike. The stock one was attached to a projection of the frame, and the threads got stripped out or damaged. So what I had to do, this is from another older bike, I had to hacksaw off that part of the frame with that little hole, that threaded hole, and I was able to bolt on this one, and it works just as good as the original one. So as far as the tire for winter, like I said, boots like this are great. They're kind of a combination. They're kind of like those Canadian Sorel type boots, you know. They have the rubber and the leather, and they're insulated. I adapted this to twist grip shifting from a friction kind of a trigger shifting, and it works fine, especially if you use mittens. It's so much easier to shift. A rear view mirror I always recommend on all my bikes, especially in the winter, because if you're kind of forced, like, you know, you're riding slow in the winter, you see cars and they're coming up behind you, it's just better to just pull off and wait for the cars to pass you. That might be a controversial issue for some people, but if you're on a bike in the winter, you're not in a hurry anyway, so, you know, in the interest of safety, I always pull over and wait. Usually not that long. A light that you can remove. That way, if you gotta keep your bike outside, you can just remove this light, take it with you, so the batteries don't get cold and weaken your lighting. So, all in all, you know, if you've ever, you know, some of you may consider, you know, riding in the winter. I suggest anyone, you know, give it a try if they're a commuter cyclist or whatever. Especially helps if after a snowstorm that, you know, you get those Arctic blasts that freeze everything really hard. And if you have a short trip, you know, you just want to go a short distance somewhere. By the time you get your car warmed up or whatever, you could be at your destination already on a bike like this. So if it gives anybody ideas, I hope they're good or whatever. So whatever you do, stay safe out there, and I'll see you again real soon. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.